Good evening, everyone. We'll call to order the meeting of the Merrillville Town Council for today, Tuesday, December 14th at 6:30. Please stand for the invocation, followed by a moment of silence.
Lord, we are thankful for this great town. We're thankful that there are men and women that have answered the call to lead us. We ask that you would grant them wisdom, God. Keep your hand upon us. Unite us, Lord, and help us to prosper in your name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. For a moment of silence, I would ask that you please keep Ann Collins in your thoughts. She passed away. She was Merrillville's first town council president and on the initial board. Jean Ward, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk Treasurer, please call the roll.
Councilman Spam, Vice President Hardaway.
Here.
Councilman Minchuk.
Here.
Councilwoman Uzelak.
Here.
Councilman Pettit.
Here.
Councilman White.
Here.
President Bella.
Here. Six present, we have a quorum. Moving on tonight to petitions, communications, acknowledgements, and remonstrations. We have the press release announcing the openings for upcoming boards and commissions. The Merrillville Town Council is seeking residents to serve on various boards and commissions beginning the calendar year of 2022. The following openings will be available. Economic Development Committee, 2 openings. Abandoned Blighted Properties Committee, 1 opening. Board of Metropolitan Police Commissioners, 1 opening. Stormwater Management Resource Board, 1 opening. Board of Zoning Appeals, 1 opening. Fire Territory Board of Directors, 2 openings. South Shore Convention and Visitors Authority, 1 opening. And there may be additional openings or other committees or special committees as they are developed. And Sheila, was there an opening on the Plan Commission too on the civilian appointments?
No.
No, okay. So interested parties should send a resume or a letter of interest to our town manager at this address at Town Hall, 7820 Broadway, and for consideration.
Mr. President, on the first one, the Economic Development Committee, we always have a little bit of confusion because we have both an Economic Development Commission and we have an Economic Development Committee. The committee is 3 council members. It has traditionally been the president of the chamber and the chairman of the board of the chamber serve as a 5-member that makes a recommendation to the town council specifically on tax abatements.
Right.
So I don't know if that's a typo, if that's the commission or is that the committee?
It's the committee.
It is the committee.
Not the
Okay.
commission, yeah. Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have the accounts payable vouchers approval for December 14th, 2021. I'll talk slow, Kelly, so you can get up here. There's a ramp on this side. And we have the approval of the town council meeting minutes of November 23rd and December 22nd.
So, second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Uzelak, second by Mr. Pettit for approval. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Mr. White?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Motion carries. Standing and special committees tonight, Budget and Finance, Mr. Hardaway.
Thank you, Mr. President. Later on the agenda, we have a lot of resolutions tonight to remind. That'll be later on. That's all right.
Very good, thank you. Council Affairs, Mr. Pettit.
Mr. President, under this committee, Joe, I'm going to go ahead and report this since this is what we perceive to be a settled litigation. We had a litigation with the Sanders family out on Mississippi, and there is a development potential. I'll be somewhat confidential on who that is, but there's a pending economic development project, and one of the things that I asked for as a councilman is that the Sanders family, we asked that the lawsuit against the town be dismissed. And Joe has been in contact with their attorney, And so it appears that he will be receiving papers, if he has not already received papers, dismissing that court case against the town for a drainage issue. And I don't know, Joe, if you want to elaborate on that or not.
Councilman Pettit, I have received a draft stipulation to dismiss this 8-year-old lawsuit. I'm proud to report that we are nearing the end of this litigation, and this matter will be done and concluded. So at this time, we're in process of getting it dismissed. We've been contacted by opposing counsel on this, and again, we'll move forward as needed.
Anything else, Mr. Pettit?
That's all.
Thank you. Public Works and Utilities, Mr. Minchuk.
No report this time.
Elections, Public Relations, Town Beautification, Mr. Pettit.
I will defer later on in the committee reports to Mr. Hardaway. Just an outstanding job Saturday night and Saturday afternoon, and I'm sure Rich will elaborate on that. I still do need to get with Leonard and Steve, and I'm remiss in that, on the 3 signs that we want to do on the bridges. We've got to pick a date, Leonard, to pin Steve down and see about that. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Environmental Affairs, Mrs. Uselak.
Oh, on the environmental affairs?
Yes.
39 people have passed last week from COVID. So we are still watching for that. We need people to get their shots if they did not get it. 53.7% of the state is fully vaccinated. 52% of Lake County is fully vaccinated. So there you go. There are still people that have got to be vaccinated, and I hope they get out there. Kathy Pettit, our Human Resource Officer, put out an excellent letter to the department heads regarding COVID, the shots, and quarantine. So if there are any people in the building or working for the town and they have questions, please contact her. I think her letter has been very informative. What is it?
This one?
Yes, that's the letter. I have read the letter. And then we also have the NFL and the NBA players. They have canceled their games. We are not going to see a Bulls playing this week or next week, I believe. This was on Chicago News today.
Oh.
We have 10 of them or 6 of them that have got to be quarantined for 10 days. So that's on the Sports Outlook. And in Germany, they have canceled the soccer games, if that means anything to anybody. But it's from COVID, it's out there. So anyway, that's about all I really have to report right now, and I hope everybody has their shots and their booster shots too. Okay? Thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. White,
yes, I'd like to add to the report.
please.
Okay. First of all, I want to say that they now have, I went to CVS last night, they have home testing kits, I think, for like $9.99. So that might be a way to, when we have people that work for the town, we can get an early indication as to who's being, if they report it to us, that might be another way to let us know what's going on with our employees. Because I'm starting to hear things about employees actually having this COVID thing, and I just don't have the numbers as to what employees overall has been.
Well, Leonard, here's a question for Joe, and I hate to get into a debate on the floor here, but, our personnel policy, we do have random drug testing for the Public Works employees for their CDLs. Now, we cannot, I understand people don't want to be told they have to get vaccinated, but can we have, as Leonard alluded to, get these tests, Joe, and at least test the employees as a part of the personnel
We
policy?
could potentially develop a methodology for testing on people, let's say, that are unvaccinated or something along those
Yes.
lines. There's a mandate coming up from the federal government, if it's not defeated in federal court, whereby all municipal employees will either have to be vaccinated or have to have a methodology to be tested on a weekly basis regarding this situation.
Well, and Margie alluded to, in the sports, in the NFL, they're doing, I think, daily tests on
Yeah.
some of the players.
They are.
And the labor union is looking into making Tier 1 and Tier 2 employees of the football organizations get vaccinated. You know, the general managers and the people in the office and all that. So it's coming. I mean, they've been,
Sure. Still out there.
it's still out there, and people need to face the fact that
Yep.
they need to be doing this.
Oh, and Lake County has a 10.9% positivity rate. So
That-
it's up there.
So it jumped from,
5 or 7.
wow, that's
No,
double.
5.9 last week, so it's 10.9 now.
Okay. I also noticed that the Indiana has moved, well, specifically Lake County has moved into the orange. It was in the yellow, so it's something's going on
Yeah.
big here. And in the terms of, even if we had to purchase those home kits, I think we might be able to get that under the American Rescue Plan.
I don't see why we couldn't.
Just depends on how many we want. So anyway, it's available at CVS, and I thought that would be a good preemptive way to kind of get ahead of the curve. Because everything I'm seeing is this, even though what is it called, Omicron, it's more transmissible, but I don't think it's worse than the Delta, actually. But it's here. So,
Joe, is it illegal if we had the human resource director survey the 160-some employees and put together a list of who's vaccinated and who's unvaccinated? Is that a violation?
No, that's not a violation at all. As a matter of fact, you want to know that because with the federal mandate coming
Sure.
down, you have to know that, really.
you know, and we want to be able to take a response if we do find out we got an outbreak in here or in any other department, specifically down at the Dean and Barbara White Center where there's 1,000 people almost going through there a day. So,
Well, in the
Let's give
meantime,
it some more thought.
Walgreens is booked every day giving COVID tests.
Yep.
And also giving out shots. I talked to the pharmacist there. He told me they are booked every day. Walgreens on Merrillville Road in Merrillville.
You
That's
guys
it.
mind if we move on tonight, though?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
It'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sheila, do we know how many people came in and received the gift card for getting fully vaccinated?
39
39.
so far, and all of those are, I was going to give it in the report later.
Oh, fine, I'll let you do that. All right. Moving on then to personnel policy and employee benefits, Mr. Hardaway.
Okay, now I'll tell you, 39 people have received gift cards, and each one of those individuals that have received a booster. There's nobody that's taken first shot, second shot. These are all people that have received a booster so far.
Okay.
So, and we had 100 initially,
Yes.
so yeah, but okay, a couple more weeks, we'll probably have to buy some more,
Okay.
or put in an order for them anyway. That's all I have for personnel.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Public safety, Mr. Minchuk.
Yes, sir. I have some good news. The Merrillville Police Department is teamed up with the First Responders Children's Foundation, and they are going to be hosting a Christmas toy giveaway. The date on this giveaway will be on the 19th from 12 noon to 3 p.m. right here at the PD. I do have flyers here. Maybe our good friends from the press can help us out getting the word out because they do have a lot of toys. We just need a lot of kids to give them to. So if we can get the word out, that would be great. That is all I have for now, sir.
Thank you. Economic development, Mr. Pettit.
Mr. President, I believe later on in the agenda, we have some final authorizations for tax abatement in a couple of areas. We'll talk about those then.
Okay. Parks and Recreation, Mrs. Uselak.
No report, thank you.
Abandoned and blighted properties, Mr. Hart.
No report.
The Dean and Barbara White Community Center, co-chairs, Mr. Minchuk, Mr. Pettit.
We will be having a meeting on the 21st at 4 p.m. I'll put the request in tomorrow for that meeting. It'll be right here.
Okay. Mr. President, I think at our places, Torrance has done a nice job of laying out kind of where we're at in operating the Dean and Barbara White Community Center. As everyone knows, we were lucky enough, fortunate enough to receive the $10 million gift from the White Family Foundation. Joe and the Legacy Foundation have been monitoring that. I think Torrance and Joe have sat down. And Torrance, do you want to go through briefly this, what you laid here at the table, the December Town Hall financial overview real quick?
Well, I was trying not to, really didn't want to go over that tonight, just because of some things that I had found out later on through report. So if you don't mind, I would like to hold off that discussion for a later
Okay.
date.
You want to do it when we do the meeting?
Sure.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all.
Thank you, sir. Special projects, Mr. Hardaway.
Thank you, Mr. President. Couple things real quick. First, I'd like to thank the press for both articles that were in the newspapers. Karen, yours was in today. Excuse me, excellent job on reporting the events of Saturday. You and the other guy, Chaz, I have no idea who he was from the Times, but, you know. Stephen. You guys did a great job of coverage over the weekend. Saturday's daytime event was great. We had the Christian Revival Center Choir and along with the vocal teams from the high school, and both groups did an excellent job in providing music for us. And I would also like to thank a special thanks to the Dean and Barbara White staff for all of the work that they put in. Hosting the daytime event, then turn right around and flipping the place for a nighttime event that I think went off very well. I'd also like to thank my committee personally, Jody Bella, Rick Bella, Alice Medstat, Vern Hearn, and Sharon Chris. Those were the people that were most instrumental in making this thing work for us. I appreciated it, and all I can say is I'm glad it's over, because it was a labor of love, but it turned out good. And I'd like to thank all of the elected officials and department heads that thought it not robbery Saturday night to come out and participate with us. Thank everyone for that. It was nice to see. That showed that we are a great community and we are proud of our town, and we showed that to Saturday night with the amount of people that came out and participated in it. Our next big event is we're going to start January looking at the 4th of July parade. I think it's going to take us a long time to get that. We've got some ideas as to how we want that to look, and we're going to form another committee for that so that when 4th of July gets here, we will be ready to roll it out. And I also, Mr. President, would like to commend the Lake County Council. Today, they recognized Juneteenth as a holiday for the county. So I think that speaks volumes for them. I mean, we had already done it, and Charlie Brown, Councilman Brown, took the lead on that, and he made that happen for the county. So that's another red letter day here for Lake County. I think that's all I got.
Did you want to make the
I want to
motion for donations for the choirs?
Thank
and
you.
the ROTC?
Yeah, at this time, you know, we had the Christian Revival Center and the vocal teams, and I'd like to make a motion that we send a check to each one of those organizations for $500 as a show of our appreciation for them, especially because kids took time out of their Saturday. The high school kids did, really. And I'd like to acknowledge them with a $500 check, as well as a $250 check for the junior ROTC that so graciously came out and manned the door for us during the daylight hours.
Second.
Thank you.
A motion by Mr. Hardaway with a second by Mr. Minchuk to donate $500 to each, the Christian Revival Center and the Merrillville Vocal Teens for participating in our events, as well as $250 to the Junior ROTC of Merrillville. I do know that the Vocal Teens check should be made out to Merrillville Choir.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Christian Revival Center should be made out to the Christian Revival Center.
Okay.
And the junior ROTC, I guess we make it out to the junior ROTC. Merrillville Junior ROTC.
Questions or comments on the motion? Guess we'll figure out where that's going to come from. Pat?
I think we should still have some money left in
You're funny.
We should,
You're real funny.
we should have $1,250, Mr. President, hopefully.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Your motion carries, Mr. Hardaway.
Thank you very much. That's all I have now.
Moving on to department and commission reports, Lake County Solid Waste Management District, Mr. White.
Yes, Mr. President, there's no actual report. I just want to let you know and let the community know that they are ready to probably move into the building at the old Girl Scouts Club. I think it's on 86 in Broadway, probably within the next 2 months, which will give us some lead time to get out of the Hammond Center over there. Because, again, the town of Hammond wants their property back. One of the issues that I want to talk about with them was that, you know, we have the first, what I would say, artificial ecosystem in that building, and we got about like maybe 75 trout fish that's been in and out of that system over there. So we might have to do a release. I don't know if we got to get with the DNR, which I'll ask the director over there to get with the DNR and see what pond or what lake or what river we could release those fish in. Those fish got spoiled. They were hand-fed, so they'll be on their own. Other than that, I have nothing else to add to that report.
Thank you. Northern Indiana Regional Planning Commission, Mr. Hardaway.
No report, Mr. President. Our next meeting is in 2022, January.
Very good. Stormwater Management Resources, Director Matt Lake.
Yeah, our Stormwater Management Board approved 4 proposals for stormwater ARP-related projects. One was Phase 2 of Independence Street. The other was a study in Bon Air to get people out of the flood zone, which will essentially be a mass letter or map amendment area study. And then 69th in Connecticut to the bypassing and removal of a lift station to go complete gravity in that area. And Southmore Park Phase 2. I had mentioned before that we had the Hickory Ridge Lake Apartment easement signed. We got that recorded, so it's official. Now I feel comfortable moving forward with engineering. I already submitted an application for cost share for all the engineering, 50% to Little Cal. I'm pretty confident they will approve that as well. I'm presenting to the advisory board on that Thursday. Also, we're going to have to update our stormwater and flood hazard ordinance with regards to changes in permitting, just logistical stuff, things that have changed with requirements, and the flood hazard side with the DNR as well. What I want to do is combine them into one comprehensive ordinance instead of keeping them as 2 separate documents. We're still waiting proposals for a study at 61st and Grant Place as well as 62nd and Cleveland. And we'll be moving forward with the Marcella Road and 53rd Avenue project. That was a CBD, Community Development Block Grant money. And we may be looking also at 66th and Pennsylvania Green Streets project over there. And that's all I had.
Thank you, Matt.
Mr. President.
Mr. White.
Yes, I just want to pass a message on that I got from some constituents about the stormwater ponds there. They were really great and happy saying that they now have lakefront property with evergreen trees around it, so they really love it. You know, one lady said, I prayed the Lord to be on the lakefront, and now I'm there. But they don't know. But it looks great, and I just want to pass that message on to you, Matt, from that part of my community.
Okay, thank you.
South Shore Visitors and Convention Authority, Mr. Reardon.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a meeting on Thursday, and we'll report back to the council early in January.
Very good. Thank you, Pat. Department reports. Torrance.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening. First, I'd like to recognize we have James Saunders, who is here. James is part of the great team of maintenance that we have at Dean and Barbara White Center. Him, along with Mike O'Neill, Sebastian Rojas, and Zachary King, they are responsible for the parks looking the way they have been looking. So we want to thank you for coming out. Thank you for your hard work and your effort. One of the things that we do have tonight, if you do check your packet, we have a pricing guide that we submitted to everybody for what we want to price certain items for next year with the Dean and Barbara White Center. Early in that list, what you will see is pricing for different programs that we're looking to run for the year, and on the back, you will also see pricing for the event center. One of the things that we did add for the event center is a nonprofit price that we want to make sure that is available and offered out to everybody. We like to do these things every year. Having these things and getting them set ahead of time help us in our marketing as we promote and we're pushing different things. And if you could take a look at that and motion if you approve, or if you have some things that you would like to go over, would greatly appreciate that. Other than that, we do have youth basketball that is going on right now. We had just had our selected of our teams this past Sunday. First practices is coming up this Friday and Sunday. We finished with 155 residents that have signed up for youth basketball. First games will be January the 15th.
Wow.
Nice.
First time out, yeah.
How many teams, Terrence, of the 155 kids?
It's broken down into age and divisions. So I looked at it again. I know it's 155, so I want to say 50, 55, and 50. So that's like 50 biddy, which is first and second grade. Juniors is 55, and then you have 50 seniors, which is seventh and eighth grade.
Okay.
And what we're doing, we're partnered up with different Boys and Girls Clubs in the region and also in Porter County. So the kids will have opportunity to play against other competition. And that's why the pricing looks the way it is, because we are all working together to make sure we maintain an affordable pricing and give the kids an opportunity to have a lot of different teams to play against.
Great. Excellent.
Mr. President?
Mr. White.
Yes, this is actually for Mr. Reardon. I had called in earlier this week because the area I lived in was trashed. And I believe that it came, when I say trash, it was trash all up and down the gullies there, right on the north side of the retention ponds. And I did make note, too, that I thought a lot of that trash was blowing off Birchwood property. But at the same time, we have to pee and check these waste hauling companies and stuff when they raise those trucks up to dump them. Paper flies everywhere. And
They don't pay attention, Leonard. I'm tired of beating that drum because these drivers don't get it. And whoever's following up doesn't get it. So I end up picking up stuff in my own cul-de-sac and throwing it in my tote because they don't care. They come in before 6 o'clock. I had Tuesday pickup. They were in my neighborhood at 5:30 this morning. And I'm tired of bitching about it, Pat. It's the same thing over and over again. And I was one of the ones that led the charge way back, Rich, when we got on here about getting one hauler in town. And it's constantly something with Ileana, with Waste Management. It ain't, whatever. Pick up the trash and go.
yeah, you know, and one of the things, when we have to send out Public Works to pick that up, it becomes a cost to us. So I don't know, Mr. Town Manager, how to proceed from this point. I don't know if we do an ordinance or something with penalties or if, you know, things of that nature. So that's my complaint today.
Well, thank you, Councilman. Pardon me, I'm out of practice. Thank you, Councilman. As to whether or not we need an ordinance, I would defer to our town attorney. However, we would continue our past practices of getting a hold of Waste Management, and a thought is, and we've done this before with some board ups, scofflaws where Public Works goes out, and our materials used to board up, we send them a bill. That's perhaps an immediate option open to us. I think until the time comes where we look at this contract and the council acts, not that an excuse, we're stuck with what we have. But town administration has no problem continuing to call Waste Management. It may not move them, but, you know, we'll keep doing what we can.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Cotino.
Nothing to pass on, Mr. President.
Sheila, tonight?
Oh, well, I'm pleased to announce that the Midwest Auto Truck Building is complete. Turbonetics is getting the occupancy as well as Quality Pasta.
Oh, great.
So they have applied for their business license, and they'll be getting ready to do business in the town of Merrillville.
That's great.
Joe's new neighbor moved in too.
Yes.
Lamar.
They have,
And
Come down for a coffee clutch anytime.
And since we were all here, we were all at the groundbreaking, I'm pleased to report that there's a crane up in the air and they're putting up walls at Domino's.
Yeah.
The precast walls are going up at Domino's. Pretty impressive.
they are.
Mr. President, I had a question for Sheila.
Mr. White?
Yes. Did they tell you how many jobs would be with these two new businesses open up like the Midwest and the pasta place?
They did at the time. Pat can give you all of that information.
Yeah, Councilman, I appreciate that. I will supply that information to you and the others tomorrow.
Okay,
I'm
thank you.
hesitant to recall from memory.
Right.
We have the
That's what
documentation.
I don't want to do.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Sheila?
No, that's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Angie?
I just wanted to follow up and mention that we have the resolutions for two businesses in regards to Kennedy Metals and the Crow Holdings Company to finalize this evening.
Very good. Thank you. Moving on then to general orders tonight, we have ordinances, first reading, ordinance 21-31. This is an additional appropriation in the Town Court Department, several funds, and Fire and Hazmat Fund. The General Fund Department 8, additional $35,000 should be the amount the court needs to finish the year in a positive balance. You'll recall that the current budget was lower due to the timing of the budget process than what the judge parent had ordered. The amount will satisfy what the court wanted to spend. The Public Defender Fund and Record for Preparation Fund appropriations are being increased from their cash balances to cover expenses over the current budget. The notice was published as required for the public hearing to be held on Tuesday. I'm going to turn this over to you in a second. Pursuant to timing with the DLGF, I suggest a suspension of the rules after the public hearing tonight and hold the second reading of this ordinance immediately. It is your pleasure, council.
Motion to approve ordinance 2131.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Pettit. Chair will recognize Mrs. Uselak for the second. Anything to add, Trista?
Nothing to add to your comments unless someone has questions.
They're your comments, but thank you for doing them. Any questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, roll call, please. That's you, Kelly. I know you haven't been here in a while.
Yes, 40
You and
days.
Pat, kind of newbies tonight.
Right. Councilman Hardaway,
Yes.
Councilman Minchuk,
Yes.
Councilwoman Uzelak,
Yes.
Councilman Pettit,
Yes.
Councilman White,
Yes.
he's so silly, Councilman Bella,
Yes,
6 in favor.
6 in favor. Let the record show that Mr. Span is absent.
Mr. President, make a motion to suspend the rules and hear 2131 on second reading.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules to read ordinance 21-31 on second and final reading by Mr. Pettit with the second by Mr. Hardaway. The same information we just shared. Any other discussion?
Public hearing, sir. Public hearing.
Any discussion from the council first? No? Is there any public comment on this ordinance, transfer of funds? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilman Hardaway,
Yeah.
Councilman Minchuk,
Yes.
Councilwoman Uzelak,
Yes.
Councilman Pettit,
Yes.
Councilman White,
Yes.
and President Bella.
Yes,
6 in favor, 1 absent.
6-0, motion carries. Moving on tonight to the next item, resolutions. I'm sorry, second reading, ordinance 21-30. This is the second reading of the ordinance allowing the carryover of vacation time and sick days. It's a one-time occurrence that we're facing this year because of the COVID year and employees having so many vacation hours. Mr. Hardaway, anything to add?
No, Mr. President, thank you. That's it. I think it's
Do
self-explanatory.
you have a motion?
Make a motion that we accept ordinance 21-30 on second reading.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hardaway, second by Mr. Minchuk for approval of ordinance 21-30 on second and final reading.
Councilman Hardaway?
Uh,
I'm sorry, did you want,
whoa, whoa.
I'm sorry.
Any discussion? Second reading, we opened it to public again. You'll get used to it. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment on this ordinance 21-30? Seeing no public comment. Madam Clerk Treasurer, call the roll.
Okay, Councilman Hardaway,
Yes.
Councilman Minchuk,
Yes.
Councilwoman Yuzlak,
Yes.
Councilman Pettit,
Yes.
Councilman White,
Yes.
President Bella,
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 absent.
6 and 1 absent, motion carries. Moving on to resolutions tonight, we have Resolution
President.
21.
Ordinance 2131 on second reading. All we did was suspend the rules.
All you did suspend the rules, didn't actually do it.
Oh,
Absolutely right.
thank you, Mr. Pettit.
Good, good catch.
Next time, just jump in there a little sooner, that'd be fine.
I'm the guy in the back of the fire truck steering
I see.
so it doesn't go off the road.
Okay. Is there any other comment on ordinance 2131?
Motion to approve, Mr. President.
Second.
We didn't do that?
We just,
No.
we
Okay.
did the
Motion by Mr.
vote.
Pettit with a second by Mrs. Uselak for second reading 2131.
31.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, roll call.
Councilman Hardaway,
Yes.
Councilman Minchuk,
Yes.
Councilwoman Yuzlak,
Yes.
Councilman Pettit,
Yes.
Councilman White,
Yes.
President Bella,
Yes,
6 in favor, 1 absent.
6 and 1 absent, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Pettit, for the point of order. Moving on to resolutions tonight, 21-83. Large transfer of funds.
Point of order, Mr. President. I believe that you've ended up with 2 copies from Ms. Rosas in your packet.
Yeah.
The second one is the appropriate resolution to be heard this evening, and it has 3 different funds
Yeah.
Right.
included.
24,742, 43,881, and 22,912.75.
Right. The copy prior to that in your packet can just be.
Motion to approve Resolution 21-83.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hardaway, second by Mr. Pettit for approval of Resolution 21-83. This, again, is really just some housekeeping, right, Trista? Moving some funds around.
It is. The recycling grant is to allow Mr. Markle and Mr. King to better use the funds where they are needed for payroll during the leaf collection time. The second item in the contractual service area in the general fund is to take care of some attorney's fees related to the court. And the third item then in the casino fund is to finalize some EVP project bills that Mr. King had been looking into to finalize that negative balance.
Thank you, Trista.
Mr. President,
Mr. White?
this is for Trista. Could you explain to me again, because I want to make sure I heard. Did you say that we're using recycling grant dollars for legal funds?
No. The recycling grant portion of the transfer there, the 24,000, is for the final payroll for the leaf collection
Okay,
for the public works employees.
okay.
The second item listed under the contractual services lines is related to the legal fees.
Okay. No more questions.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Moving on tonight to Resolution 21-84. It's a resolution in Town of Merrillville transferring monies in the 2021 budget within the general fund. The decrease is $3,000, the increase is $3,000, net effect is 0.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pettit, second by Mr. Hardaway for approval of 21-84. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 21-85 tonight. Again, a transfer of funds, $1,923.08. The increase is $1,923.08. The net effect is 0.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pettit, second by Mr. Hardaway for approval of Resolution 21-85. Questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Your cough does not qualify. We'll vote here. Sorry. Resolution 21-86. This is a resolution confirming the designation of an economic revitalization area and approving the deduction from assessed value of new real property improvements and certain eligible new equipment. Mr. Pettit, would you like to comment on this resolution, or perhaps Angie?
I'll defer to Angie.
Oh, Ms. Chilka.
So this is to finalize the tax abatements that we've already have passed. And do we have,
Mr. Anderson's in the audience.
Mr. Anderson is here to represent Kennedy Metals.
Please approach Mr. Anderson. You know the drill.
You're under oath.
Yes, I am. Basically, the purpose of tonight is because the Southridge Park where this is located, each lot has been designated for tax abatement as it's come before you. So tonight's purpose is to have a public hearing to designate the lot where Kennedy Metal Products will be built. And they're moving from
Cherville.
Kennedy Avenue. Yeah, Cherville, thank you.
Kennedy Metal Products, Rich.
Yes, sorry.
Mr. President,
Mr. White.
this is for Richard Anderson.
Sure.
When you said a lot, how large is that lot, or how many is it?
The lot?
Or acreage, or whatever you have?
I think it's a 2-acre lot. They're starting out with a project of a $1,800,000 building, and there's $250,000 going for a laser cutter. They do specialty steel cutting.
According to the tax card, Rich, that's in our report or in our resolution, it says 6.99 acres.
Okay.
That
It's a big
lot.
lot. It's one of the biggest lots out there.
Yeah, it's the
but they're
biggest
not-
lot in Southridge.
They're not really going to use all of it to begin with. And part of the back part of it, actually, there's a NIPSCO line runs through.
Yeah.
We should point out that this is a graduated abatement, 100% the first year, moving on to 10% less each year for 10 years.
Right.
So 100%.
It's a
payment of
straight 10-year,
Yeah.
deducted every year, it goes down.
In their first year, they're going to pay nothing in taxes. Their second, they'll pay 10, they'll pay 20, they'll pay 30, they'll pay 40. The 11th year, they'll pay 100% of their tax bill.
Except for the property. The real
Yeah.
estate is always taxed,
Yeah.
the actual property itself.
Okay, no questions.
Any other questions for Attorney Anderson? Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pettit, second by Mrs. Uselak for approval of Resolution 21-86 for DSL Property Managers LLC and/or Kennedy Metal Products, Inc. Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
We need a
Oh, sorry, you need a public hearing. Is there a public hearing tonight on this Resolution 21-86? Any public comment? Seeing none, we'll now do a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Yep. Hearing again. We have Resolution 21-87. It's a resolution of the Town of Merrillville, Indiana regarding a waiver of noncompliance. Mr. Pettit or?
I'm sorry. Yes, this is part of the spec building that's being built by Curl Holdings on the west side of Georgia. And this is to establish an economic revitalization area and waive the noncompliance. This is, again, a companion to what we're going to see in 2188. And gentleman from Curl is here.
Yes, he is.
Good evening.
Yeah, so,
Your name, please. And
Yeah, and there-
my name is Jack Rabin. I work with Crow Holdings Industrial.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, sorry.
That's right. Go ahead, Jack. You want to say something?
No, unless any questions from the council.
Okay.
This is, Mr. President, this is the first step. Again, as I said, the companion is 2188, and this is the, basically, Pat and Angie, I believe this is identical to the abatement plan that we gave Midwest Tire, Turbo Netrix, and Quality Pasta on the east side, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and Jack, I'll put you on the spot because the press is here. I know I talked to Sean.
Yep.
The building will be done at the end of February, correct?
Yes, so we're looking to deliver on March 1st of
March
2022.
1st?
Yes.
And there's going to be somebody with keys in their hand?
We're hoping right now. The activity's been very strong. Want to keep building down in Merrillville, so.
All right.
The tenants keep wanting to come down here. We'll keep building.
Yep.
Have a question?
That's right.
Yes, how many jobs are with your entity?
Honestly, it really depends on the tenant we have. It's 261,000 square foot building. I believe in the application, we kind of put an estimate in there. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you, but I know it's in that application.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the council?
Motion to approve Resolution 2187, Mr. President.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pettit, second by Mrs. Uzelak for approval of 2187. Additional comments? Hearing none. Open to the public, right?
Public hearing.
Public hearing. We have a public hearing on this resolution. It's a waiver of noncompliance. Seeing no public comment, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Moving on tonight to the companion resolution 21-88. Mr. Pettit.
Yes, Mr. President, this is the actual tax abatement resolution that sets out the schedule that we will be abating, and this is what I guess Pat and I have come to call the Pettit clause, where the first 5 years they will pay 0. In the 6th year, they will start at 20%. They'll basically pay 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100. This is similar, again, to what they received on the east side of Georgia. It's also similar, if I'm not mistaken, Pat, to what Dawn Foods received at Ameriplex as well in that same percentage schedule. So I can't say, Jack, I can't say enough about what you guys have done in town. Absolutely fantastic buildings. You're clean. You're in there. I'm extremely happy as your councilman what you guys have done.
We appreciate it. You guys have been a pleasure to work with, so can't always say that about other communities, so.
Mr. Pettit, we lovingly refer to that as the Pettit Special.
Yes.
Any other discussion on the motion? Public comment, is there any public comment on resolution 21-88? Seeing none, are we still okay with the roll call vote?
Mr. President, motion to approve.
Second.
Well, if it's tax abatement.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Pettit with a second by Mr. Hardaway. Any other discussion from the council? Seeing none, Madam Clerk Treasurer, let's do a roll call on this.
Okay. Mr. Hardaway?
Yeah.
Mr. Minchuk?
Yes.
Mrs. Uzelak?
Yes.
Mr. Pettit?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Bella?
Yes.
6 in favor, 1 absent.
6 and 1 absent, motion carries. Moving on tonight to Resolution 21-89. Resolution authorizing a transfer of monies within the funds of the Parks Department. This is a decrease from the Community Center Gift Fund, $150,000, and an increase to the Parks non-reverting. I believe this simply fixes some different estimates we had. Oh, Trista's up there. I'll let her speak to it.
As you know, the gift fund money was deposited into Fund 216 so that it could then be tracked better when, and transferred when needed then into Fund 215. This is the final transfer of the year to help stabilize the non-reverting fund.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hardaway, second by Mr. Minchuk for approval of Resolution 21-89. Transfer of funds, $150,000. Any questions or comments from the council?
That resolution 2190 or 89?
We're on 89.
Okay.
Mr. Pettit, did you have a question?
No.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 21-90, a transfer of funds. Parks non-reverting decrease $40,000. The general fund increase $40,000. Net effect is zero. Trista, anything to add?
This was included in the email that I sent out as well, to allow the payment from the the Parks Non-Reverting Fund for their own building insurance costs, which had been paid earlier in the year, back in May, by Ms. Rosas.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hardaway, second by Mrs. Uselak for approval. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I gotta clear
Mr.
something
Pettit.
up, Rick, I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Pettit.
Trista, in 2189, we took $150,000 out of the community gift fund. Is that our sponsorship fund?
That is from the foundation.
Yes.
Not
That's from the
the
Dean and Barbara
naming-
White Family Foundation.
Right, not from
All
the
right.
naming sponsorships. That's handled somewhere differently.
So we're increasing the 1/5 to 150, and now if we're turning around in 2190 and decreasing at 40, is that basically $110,000 left in the non-reverting?
Well, certainly there's multiple things that are happening
Right.
together, but yes, you can think of it. in
All
that
right,
fashion.
that's what I wanted to, okay.
And that goes as to cash balance, not
Yeah.
necessarily appropriation.
Very
but
sure, right,
Different.
okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Motion to approve, Mr. President.
We did that?
Second.
Did we do that?
I thought we
2190,
did.
Mr. Hardaway and Mrs. Uselak.
Oh, I threw my second in again.
This motion has so much popularity, it's been double motion and double second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 21-91. This is the fire territory transfer. It's a decrease of $116,000, an increase in the cumulative fire equipment, $116,000. Anything to add, Trista?
Only if there's questions, really. The fire board has approved this already and are sending it to you for approval.
Mm-hmm.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Hardaway, second by Mr. Pettit for approval of Resolution 21-91, a transfer of funds. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Mr. White?
Aye.
You know, I'm going to call you out on that. Resolution 21-92. Again, another fire territory, Fund 225, decrease of $50,000 in the Volunteer Firefighters Fund, and an increase of $50,000 in the Fire Department. Is that interest?
There's an interest line for the principal and interest payments with the bond that they,
I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hardaway, second by Mrs. Uselak.
Thank you.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. We are at the last resolution of the evening, 21-93.
Motion to approve.
Mr. White, way to go. Motion by
I
Mr.
got
White.
10 over here, 10 more over here.
Your motion fails for lack of a second.
Second.
You said it failed, though.
I take
Yes,
that back.
be done.
We have a late second by Mr. Hardaway. I think we're getting fatigued up here.
Well, I was hoping that they would take care of it on
Right?
that side.
I know.
So, but
Our
since-
side's good. I don't know what's going
I
on.
don't know.
Trista's like, I want to go home.
Not yet.
Anything to
Oh,
add for
we're
this?
much earlier than I was expecting, so
Oh, I know, we're just flying tonight. Anything to add for this one for us?
only if there's questions.
You explained it all pretty good here. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for your indulgence on that. Thank you, Trista. Old business, is there any old business before us tonight? Hearing none. New business, any new business before us?
I got one thing, Mr. President.
Mr. Hardaway.
Under new business that I should have said under budget and finance, but I didn't. It's the memorandum that was sent out to Mrs. White Gibson, and hopefully all department heads got this. The pay, the extra money that we're going to give you guys next year. It's going to be paid in quarters, $600 April, $600 in July, $600 October, and the last payment would be $600 in December. And the police officers will get the same, they will get $1,000 per quarter. So I just wanted to make sure that all department heads understand that, and please communicate that to your employees so that they probably heard that they're going to get a stipend, but it won't be in January. It will be at the beginning of the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, like that. Any questions? Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other new business before us?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. White.
Yeah, I had a complaint, actually from a constituent that is not mine, but he asked me to ask about the stop sign on 57th and Hendricks, I believe it is. It's one of the stop signs that got the blinking lights around it. He said it's been out.
Chase.
Is that Chase? Okay. And he complained about it and said, see, she's sharp on that. Did you see that already, Marge?
Well, I know the area.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
I only lived there 40 years.
Well, that's a long time to be by the stop sign. Here's the thing.
Well, they put that one up about 3-4 years ago with the lights on it.
Thank you. I will tell the individual that he doesn't have to pay for it. And I made the statement that Marge already said that she knew exactly what I was talking about. Thank you.
Is that what the concern was, that they'd have to pay for the lights?
Well, he said that it's been out a while, it's dark around there.
Oh.
So he said if we can't get it, he'll just go ahead and pay for it. He said it shouldn't have cost more than $150, but I don't know. I just wanted to give him an answer. I thought Steve would be here because he had said he had talked to Steve one time about it. So.
We'll make sure that Steve knows.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I just think as a common courtesy, anytime we receive, and this is what I do, if I receive a message from a constituent that's not mine, I refer them to the proper council member.
Well, I probably would, but that councilman has not been able to come in for the last council
Okay,
meetings.
I'm just saying, so.
Yeah,
Well, that councilman is Andy. That's precinct 1.
it's the precinct committee.
That's Andy's the precinct committeeman.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you wanted the councilman. Yes, that would be John's fan. Right.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay. I didn't realize what district we're talking about. Thank you. Any public comment tonight? Oh, please approach the podium, and I think you know the drill.
Good afternoon. Shonda Flowers, resident, address 6137 Connecticut Street. I just wanted to piggyback off of Councilman White with regards to garbage. I think an area of opportunity for code enforcement would be to enforce picking up, or more importantly, removing those trash containers once the garbage has been picked up. I know for me personally, I've had a problem with my neighbors. Unfortunately, I think they believe that the garbage cans are to remain on the street until the next week. And so what happens when you get the wind that blows, it blows the garbage, just seems like it blows into my yard. So I think that's an area of opportunity if we start as a town enforcing what that code, the ordinance is with regards to putting those garbage cans up there to be out by 4 p.m. the night before, and they have to 10 p.m. the night of the actual day that garbage is picked up. In addition, in light of the tornadoes, it really is why I'm bringing it to your attention, because God forbid that tornado came through our town. Those are the type of weapons that you do not want that can be used with that gust of wind coming through and destroying properties, houses, or ultimately hurting someone. In addition to that, that night that the tornadoes were coming through, I am in Councilman White area. I did not hear any sirens on 61st over there in the area where McDonald's is. I'm not sure if something's wrong with them, but there were no sirens that I heard. I do know that sirens were working that particular night because on the Merrillville site, you saw a lot of residents that were chiming in that they were grateful to hear those sirens, but they were not working on my side, which is over off of 61st near McDonald's. So I just wanted to bring that to you all's attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Shonda. I'd just like to add where possibly they should have been, because I didn't hear it either. And it's on 57th and Harrison, I believe, at the old fire station. Is that right, Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't hear it, so maybe we had to talk to a fire chief or whoever's responsible for that building.
Please do, yeah.
Okay.
With Ed, I think they kind of take care of that.
Going to take care of it. Thank you, Ms. Flowers.
Do you normally hear it? Did you hear it at noon every Saturday?
Yeah.
I think Kelly said you heard it, right, where you live?
I have
I
not.
heard mine, but maybe it wasn't.
No.
I'm on 54th Court, so.
Yeah, I'm right
We'll
off.
look into it.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks.
for bringing it to our attention, of course.
I was hearing different.
Any other public comment tonight?
Good evening. Good evening, Judge.
Gene Velasco, Judge of the Merrillville Town Court. I wanted to do three things. One is to commend you for passing the ordinance to be able to continue to function to the end of the year for the financial aspects of that, and shows you what cooperation can do. Took a lot of people being involved, Joe, my staff, my attorneys, and now all of you. So I'm very appreciative of that. Secondly, I don't know if we'll see each other again. So I know there's another council meeting and a special meeting, but in any event, if I don't see some of you, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Judge. Same to you.
You're welcome.
Any other public comment tonight? Seeing none. Moving on to announcements. Plan Commission public meeting will be December 21st at 6:30. The Redevelopment Commission meeting will be December 28th at 6 o'clock. The Town Council meeting, the next one is December 28th, Tuesday at 6:30. And we also have a special Town Council meeting that same week on Thursday, December 30th at 5:30.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, that's a typo. So it's
Thank
at
you.
5:30 PM that day. Will be a short reception afterwards.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. President, I have, Jeff, we have a Dean and Barbara White Community Center Committee for the 21st at 4 o'clock. And we also have a special redevelopment commission and plan commission meeting to talk about the finalizing of Ameriplex and what's going on out there. There's been a lot going on. I've been talking to Steve about the paving, and these folks are asking about putting streets in and a lot of development that Sheila and the plan commission we've seen. We want to get everybody together. So everyone, the entire council's invited, but it's for the plan commission and RDC. That's at 5 o'clock on Tuesday.
Well, I have everyone here. Would everyone be available at 5:30 on the 28th? That's our next regular town council meeting. And I think it's, we can invite Waste Management in for an executive session. We can sit in back and talk about some of these issues, and then we just come right out and jump right into our 6:30 regular meeting. Would you all be available for that? If so, I'll call it. And
Yes.
okay, we'll take care of that. So Pat, executive session, town council, December 28th at 5:30.
Second on the adjournment.
Mr. Hardaway, motion to adjourn.
Yes.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
5 o'clock.